Hi everyone, it's Brian. Happy Friday. Well, it is Friday where I am. Hopefully, it's Friday where you are too. Today, I am going to do a contest entry. This one is for JT's Record Room. He has passed the 1,000 subscriber threshold, and he is running a contest to celebrate that achievement. It's a pretty fantastic achievement, but I guess he started at zero, just like everyone else. So I suppose it's possible for us all to reach 1,000 at some point. JT is a great guy, firstly because he has a really wide range of tastes. So I see him show things from like Hawaiian music through to hard rock and everything in between. So really wide range of genres that he likes. He finds a lot of stuff, it seems, in thrift shops, which I find incredible because I rarely see good things in thrift shops anymore. Around here, it's usually scratched up records that have zero interest to me. And finally, he's been a great supporter to newer channels in the VC. So he's actually given a shout out to me, which I really appreciate. And he's done the same for other newer channels as well. So he's done a lot of shout outs to new channels, which I think is really wonderful. Very supportive, very welcoming, very friendly, and genuinely a great guy. So I'm happy to do this contest for such a nice guy. And his contest is to show 3 records from 3 different genres, to show a newer record that I've been listening to, and finally to talk about a guilty pleasure, which I think is a really good idea and a lot of fun. So I'm going to start with a band that it was traditionally known as trip hop or down tempo, but depending on who you ask, this record may not fit that. This is Portishead. This is their 3rd record from 2008 called Third. And I believe this was their first record in 11 years or so. I also read that the band didn't like the label trip hop, and so if you ask some people, this record is really electronic, maybe psych, experimental, but other sites still label it as trip hop. So it fits one of those genres. For those who don't know, Portishead is named after the town. I believe where they're from, a town in England near Bristol. I just was remembering that back in 1998, I was in a car and we were driving past very close to Bristol and saw a sign for Portishead, I think, a few miles that way. And I kind of hoped that we would go, but we never made it there. So I've been close to Bristol, or close to Portishead, but never made it there. But this is a great record. I think it's, whatever the genre is, whatever you want to call it, I think it's fantastic. And this is just standard black vinyl. There's nothing really extraordinary about that. I got it for a great price. Maybe that's extraordinary. That's one. So the second thing I wanted to talk about was a band that a number of genres that you could classify this band as. I've seen it listed as alternative metal, art rock, post metal, progressive metal. Again, so take your pick of those, I suppose. So this is Tool. This is the band's first full-length release after Opiate. This came out in 1993. Again, this is on standard black vinyl. So if you know a track from here or tracks from here, it's probably either going to be Prison Sex or Sober. And if you don't know them, you should probably just check them out because the videos are kind of crazy. If you've seen Tool videos, you know what I mean. They're really interesting. So yeah, I'm not sure what the genre here, I guess some sort of metal, I guess. I'm not sure if it's really heavy metal, but some progressive metal sounds right to me. Art rock maybe, I'm not sure. But that's a good record. Although I will say the pressing maybe isn't the best pressing I've ever heard. It has a bit of issues. For the third, I chose rap or hip hop. That's Run DMC from 1986. This is an original US pressing. Again, 2 tracks on here that you might know would be It's Tricky, and this also contains the Walk This Way, which they did with Aerosmith. So again, nothing, this is the original one on Profile. So, face it the right way, Profile. I do have a few hip-hop or rap records in my collection. It's not a genre that I have a lot from, but I do enjoy what I have. The next thing is to talk about a record that a new record that we've been listening to, and I decided to avoid anything that I had shown recently in Recent Finds and to choose something else that maybe should have been in Recent Finds, but I forgot maybe to put it in there. So this is a double record from Bill Callahan and Bonnie Prince Billy called Blind Date Party. So Bill Callahan is in a band, I guess, called Smog, and Bonnie Prince Billy, he's released records under that name, also under his real name of Will Oldham, and also sorry, I kind of slurred that, Will Oldham, and also a band called Palace and other things. So he's released a lot of records. Probably his most famous song is I See a Darkness, which Johnny Cash covered in one of his later records. So this is a really interesting record for a lot of reasons. It came out in December 2021, so it was recorded really during a lockdown of some form or another. So I think what they did is they each said to each other, recommended songs they'd like the other person to sing. So they share singing on this, and they were recorded kind of remotely and shared. I'm not sure the whole mechanism of it, but it was recorded here and there, and tapes sent back and forth, I guess. And so all the songs are cover versions. So there's a long list of people who they cover on here, and I'm just gonna I made a note here so I wouldn't forget. But they cover songs from Cat Stevens, Leonard Cohen, John Prine, Lowell George, Robert Wyatt, Hank Williams, Iggy Pop, Billie Eilish, Lou Reed, Steely Dan, David Berman, and others. So not only are there all a huge range of cover versions, they also have a featured artist on every track. So under the track listing, you'll see a featuring. So everyone has different people joining in. That is, I guess, an image of everyone who participated. And it comes with quite an extensive book, if I can pull this out. So for every song, there is artwork, and then there are statements or written statements or quotes from people involved. So either Bill or Bonnie Prince Billy or the guest musicians for every track. So this is I haven't even read this entire thing yet, but it's quite extensive, and they talk about maybe some cases why they did a track or how it came to be. Interestingly, though, I would say the funny thing is they chose The Night of Santiago from Leonard Cohen, which is not the most obvious Leonard Cohen song you would cover. It's from the last posthumous record that was finished by his son Adam Cohen, so it's not an obvious choice, but I think it's actually quite interesting. And there's some more images. So this is a really good package, really solid durable cardboard sleeve, and it sounds incredible. I mean, the quality of the pressing is really good as well. So what would you call? We're not talking about genres anymore, but I guess you'd call this roots or folk. Maybe I'm not pop. I guess in some respects, but this is a quality package, and I got it on sale, which was good. So I recommend this. I've seen it recommended on other channels, and I think if you like that kind of music, if you like Bonnie Prince Billy, you might enjoy it. All right, so a guilty pleasures track, and a lot of things went through my mind when I heard JT say guilty pleasure. I'm not sure I have a guilty pleasures, to be honest, but I picked something that I think fits. As I mentioned in other videos, my father was an enormous fan of ABBA. He just loved everything about them. He had every 8-track they released, and he had those same records on records, and then he had CDs later. He had 45s, he had Swedish language imports, he had collections of compilations that were released only in the European market, and collections that were released here. Pretty much everything. So whenever I was in the car with him, he would have a cassette player going, playing ABBA songs, so I had to endure that no matter where we went. He would put 8-tracks on in Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon and just play the same 8-track round and round and round for hours at a time. So ABBA all day long. I think I know the words to every ABBA song except the new record, which I've never heard. And I was also the person who was made to make cassette recordings of his records for the car. So I'd be in my room with my stereo system. I think at that time I had a dual turntable, and I'd be putting it on tape for him to listen to in the car. And I would argue that I really don't like ABBA, and I don't like any of their songs. with one exception, and that exception is a song that was released as a single in 1982 and later appeared on a collaboration. I think it came out in order to promote the not collaboration, in order to promote the compilation record, and that was a singles collection. And the song was "The Day Before You Came." So that song, at the time, I think it didn't do well in the charts, that single, but I think in retrospect, some critics have called it a forgotten masterpiece. And to my surprise, a couple years later, this band called Blancmange included that track as the final track on the album "The Day Before You Came." And again, I thought this is an excellent version of that song. They're both good. The ABBA version might be better. I don't have any ABBA records at the moment, and I certainly don't have that 45, but if I want to hear that song, it's on here. So I would choose that as a guilty pleasure because I don't like ABBA, but that song I'll make an exception for because I think it's actually a really good song. I think the lyrics are strong, and I think the music is strong, so I would choose that as my guilty pleasure. All right, so that's the 5 things. Now, I don't believe there's probably no one watching this who isn't already subscribed to JT's Record Room, but if you're not, you should definitely check it out because he is truly, truly a really friendly and great guy, and I highly recommend his channel. So if you don't know it, definitely check it out. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.